Hey everybody, wanted to do something a little bit different today. I've been wanting to do a Q&A video for a while now since it seemed like something that would be fun to do. And quite a lot of you had some neat questions that I wanted to answer. So, let's get started. What made you start doing YouTube? I grew up watching internet personality-driven videos such as The Nostalgia Critic, The Spoony One, JonTron, Total Biscuit, and later on PBG, Pro Jared, Kadikarus, Markiplier, and Tear of Grace and such. The work they did always seemed fun, and I had been wanting to try my hand at it for a long time. I made several attempts before, but all of them fell flat due to either not being very good or me just being too nervous to put myself out there. After I moved out on my own, I had been trying out for some amateur voice acting when I came across a way to use Adobe Audition to clean up my mic audio and give it a more professional sounding quality. After experimenting with it a bit, I decided to give YouTube one more try with my old Trove series, and well, the rest is history. When are you doing a collaboration with Tear of Grace? No idea. Time zones are a bitch since we live halfway across the world from each other, so setting any kind of collaborative effort up has been really difficult. I mean, I would love to do more with him, Over Englishman, and a few others, but time is hardly on any of our sides. The other thing is Tear is mostly a console gamer since that's what most of his friends play on, and I'm like 99.9% a PC gamer these days. But hey, Tear, if you're watching, I'm always down to do stuff. I did appear twice on Tear's live streams, however. We played Radical Heights together to see just how bad it really was. And the fact that we played one round together and then switched to Fortnite right after should tell you plenty. And I believe the second time was Monster Hunter World. Who would win a fight between Blue Magoo and Aloe9? I mean, if we're talking about Xcom Aloe9, it's difficult to say. But then again, I think even Al would be too weirded out by Blue Magoo to want to go near him, so I guess Blue Magoo by default? What games are you planning to play after you finish the Xcom War of the Chosen series? No idea, really. Anything that just happens to catch my eye. I have a few casual interests I may want to look into more. The easy option is just to do more Shadow of War, obviously, but I honestly would rather start looking into some more oddball games on the side. Not to say that I wouldn't continue Shadow of War, but add in some different kind of content in addition to that. I'm not sure, we'll see. What do you think of us as a community? Also, to jump in on the Warhammer 40k, would you consider playing Warhammer 40k mechanics? Have you delved into the Warhammer? Alright, enough! I get it. A lot of people like Warhammer. Okay. No, I haven't really thought about doing any Warhammer games because, well, I never really got into that franchise. But I don't know, Mechanicus looks interesting, and just how ridiculously over the top and overblown the whole setting is has always been pretty fascinating to observe from afar, so perhaps. No guarantees, but it's a possibility. As for the community question, I'm honestly very happy with the community I have. I don't know why, but I seem to have attracted some really nice and thoughtful people, if the responses to my grandmother and the well wishes to her and my family are anything to go by. And I always enjoy hanging out with you all in streams, so I'd say the vast majority of my audience seems to be made up of some pretty alright people. Where are you from? No need for specifics, just curious. I'm from the good old US of America. Missouri to be exact. It's boring as sin here. You've mentioned you wanted to branch out to other games for content in your last XCOM 2 video. I support this wholly as I came for your mannerisms and the content you provided. The fact you attached it to one of my favorite games is just a massive bonus. My question is, can we send you suggestions? Because I know a few games I'd be curious to see you play. You can, though I can't guarantee I'll get to them all. Typically, for me to make videos on a game, I have to have a personal interest in them. So playing something that's suggested to me is kind of hard to do unless it looks really good on the surface. I play games to have fun, but I'm also very picky when it comes to what I want to make content on. If the interest isn't there, then the content is just going to be kind of phoned in. What was your absolute favorite video on your channel to make? My Deltarune review has so far been my favorite, even if it's much different than what I've done before. It was the first thing in a long time I felt like I put a lot of real, tangible effort into, and something I really wanted to come from the heart. I missed the boat when it came to making any kind of meaningful content on Undertale, so I wanted to try and be a bit more timely on Deltarune. But I didn't want to make something low effort like a Let's Play or something cringy and attention seeking like any of the thousands of theory videos already popping up about the game, most of which can just be boiled down to wild speculation. But then again, there are a ton of reviews of the game already as well, so I guess I just chose one oversaturated market over the other. Oh well, I still enjoyed making it. How did you feel when you realized how much we cared about you, the money rushes in your streams included? The amount of support and generosity you all have shown since I started getting more well-known is still astounding. It's gotten to the point that on certain streams I can spend up to 20 minutes just reading donation messages and getting bombarded with more while trying to catch up. It's flooring. I don't think I deserve any of it, but I'm equally happy to know you all enjoy what I do enough to want to help keep it going. I'm in an awkward position where I don't feel I deserve the kind of generosity you all show, but I also need it to keep this as a job, so yeah, it's conflicting. But I mean, of all the problems I've had in my life, this is far from the worst. And I'm just happy you all like what I do. What is your best and worst gaming moment? Hard to answer, really. Watch any of my streams and you'll see I keep getting more and more viable candidates for either subject. Thoughts on the porn of Aloe 9, and have you picked up Fortuna? Do you even live together? I've not tried out Fortuna yet, or is it Fortuna? Whatever. But I have watched the trailer for it and listened to its music about 20 times now, so there's that at least. As far as the porn thing goes, honestly, after years of seeing popular IPs get pornography drawn of them, or written about them, I kind of figured that at some point if I ever got big enough, big if granted, I'd probably see the same done to my own avatar. That said, so far there's only like one instance of it I've been made aware of, but you never know. It's one of those things where no matter what my feelings on it are, I've long made peace with it being an inevitability. And hell, if people like Al enough to want to draw him with robotic junk, then fuck it, go for it. I ain't gonna lose sleep over it. Hell, if anything, it's almost like a badge of honor these days. What's one game you're really looking forward to? There's a few games I'm looking forward to. The Final Fantasy VII Remake for one, since I never got to play it back in the day, and well, my attempts to go back and play it nowadays are hampered because I just can't get over how badly the graphics have aged, which is normally something that doesn't bother me much. Final Fantasy IX is still one of my favorite games after all, but for 7 it's just so much more noticeable. Kingdom Hearts 3 is another one because I used to love Kingdom Hearts when I was a kid, and I kind of fell out of love with the series after a while, but I'm just curious to see how the hell they're gonna wrap it up. But above all else, I think the one game I'm looking forward to the most is Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice, because 1, it's a FromSoft game, and 2, it's Dark Souls with ninjas and samurai. Fuck yes. I only have one question. Explosion! Do you plan on making Aloe 9 a whole character with likes, dislikes, and all that? Just thought it was appropriate due to him being the face of the channel. If you prefer a more general/entertaining question, if you were on a deserted island, who of all your OCs would you want with you? Max of 3. Funny you asked that actually, because Aloe 9 was his own character before becoming my channel avatar. I had a whole story that I had been thinking about for a number of years, and Al was one of its 7 or so main characters. In fact, out of all of them, he was one of the 3 main characters that the story would have mostly centered around. I had thought up the visual designs for most of the main cast, but never had any opportunity to do anything with them, since I have no artistic ability, and I didn't have the money at the time to get them commissioned. However, one day I decided that I wanted to change my channel avatar to something other than my old S icon, and well, I had all these character designs just laying around gathering dust, so I figured, fuck it, I'll just take Al's designs since he was one of my favorites and use that. I still have the other designs and the story he came from sitting around, but I have no idea if I'll do anything with them now. I guess if people are curious, I may post a short synopsis of it somewhere, along with a list of the other characters. As for the island thing, I'd go with Al, Blue Magoo, and Hush. Al is a given, and Blue Magoo, as weird and creepy as he is, would probably have some interesting stories to tell, and Hush to keep Mr. Magoo in line. Are there any games that you want to make content for but couldn't find the time? Final Fantasy IX is one, and as much as I wanted to make more content on Deltarune, I have no idea what I'd do that stands out. Maybe I'll think of something and do a couple weeks of experimental content, we'll see. Would you ever have fans do voices in a cutscene? I did already, actually. In my Shen's Last Gift video, a fan by the name of Fawn voiced Shen, and Over Englishman voiced Central. If I ever do more voiced cutscenes in the future, I may hold auditions, we'll see. Also, for people who are wondering who voiced the assassin in her cutscene, that was me. Since about 70% of her voice is gravel, she wasn't that hard to emulate. I just had to pitch shift my voice up a bit in editing. Where did Aloe 9 come from anyways? Your imagination? Is it a oh, wait. I already answered this question. Whoops. Moving on. Do you like Star Wars? Yes, more so on a casual level though. I enjoy the setting, watched the original trilogy as well as the prequels, unfortunately, but I never got super into it. Hey Seth, you ever fired a gun in real life? If so, what was it and how did it go? Yes, though only once. My uncle on my mom's side of the family took me and my cousins to a shooting range when I was on vacation a few years ago, and I got to fire a couple of different guns. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I know one was a bolt-action rifle and the others were some variant of submachine gun. It was neat, though very, very loud, even with the ear protection they had. If you could have any unconventional superpower, what would you have and why? Okay, so if anyone is familiar with My Hero Academia, you probably know about a character named Bakugo. Bakugo has the power to create explosions from his hands, and the way he uses that power in the show is pretty impressive. I'd show you clips of what I mean, but I'd likely get screwed by copyright since Toei hates YouTubers showing any footage of their shows. But yeah, I'd probably want that because being able to punch explosions would be fun. Failing that, I'd probably go with Tagada's power of being able to essentially no-clip through solid matter. How many 1 million bit donations can you handle? My heart would explode after only one. Please don't do this to me. Is there any advice you'd give to someone struggling to start their own channel? Stay consistent, keep looking at what you can do better, don't get discouraged, and don't be afraid to ask others for guidance. Also, don't compare your rate of success to someone else's because, well, success comes to everyone at different rates. It's never a guaranteed thing. Instead, look at what others do well, ask yourself what you like about them, and then try to find ways to incorporate a bit of that into what you do. Don't rip anybody off, of course, but making iterative work is a good way to start building your skill set. Completely original work doesn't exist anymore, since everything nowadays is inspired by something else. So just try to take the things that inspire you, put your own spin on it, and go from there. Also, learn the tools you're working with. Take some time to play around with whatever editing program you're using, and invest in some good equipment. You don't have to get top-of-the-line stuff, but getting a decent mic and learning a bit of editing can go a long ways. I'm kinda curious. Either way, I'm not going to judge, it's your opinion. What do you think of loot boxes and microtransactions and the like? Okay, I'm actually all right with microtransactions because, well, in free-to-play games, that's how they make their money. The payment, quote-unquote, of playing a free-to-play game is that psychological war between you and the game wanting to tempt you into buying something. Now, when a game is purposefully designed to be a grind fest unless you cough up the dough to make it fun, then I start to have problems. But in all honesty, making microtransactions that aren't tempting to buy for either the sake of convenience or just because the things they offer look cool is hard to do. Loot boxes, on the other hand, can go to hell. So far, the only instance of loot boxes I've seen that aren't a gigantic pain in the ass is with TF2, since the grand majority of what you can get in a box is available to buy on the store anyway, or gotten through crafting/random drops, or able to be obtained through trading. Plus, TF2 had years upon years of free content updates built up before implementing microtransactions and loot boxes, so I had a lot more goodwill built up towards them. Overwatch's method of obtaining skins is only through loot boxes, and any game that makes loot boxes a part of the game's own progression system, such as Shadow of War's Initial State and Battlefront 2, are directly hindered because of it and would be better games overall without them. Also, loot boxes and microtransactions have no reason whatsoever to be in a game that already costs 60 to 80 bucks. If you want to be a free-to-play game, then be a free-to-play game. Don't double dip, it's just greedy. Have you considered making a Fallout 4 video? Not really. I never played Fallout 4, and while I liked the other Fallout games, I was never that into them, so I don't think I'd want to make anything on them. And the less we say about Fallout 76, the better. Bethesda keeps digging that grave fast enough on their own that they don't need my help. What mods do you recommend playing Xcom 2 with, including and excluding DLC? I highly recommend War of the Chosen, obviously, and the only mod I'd say never play the game without is one called Stop Wasting My Time. What it does is speed up certain animations to make the game flow a lot more smoothly, and I have never turned it off after installing it back in vanilla Xcom 2, save for updating it for War of the Chosen. It makes the game objectively better. How much longer do you plan on making XCOM 2 videos? As long as I keep having an interest in the game, which may extend beyond the War of the Chosen series. We'll see. When will you do a proper D&D video? I've wanted to for so long because I get into some pretty funny situations in my D&D sessions, but I've just never gotten around to it. I'd like to at some point, I just need to discuss that with my friends. How does it make you feel knowing that, be it on Twitch, YouTube, or Twitter, you bring smiles and laughter to thousands of people? I still struggle to comprehend it, really. It's hard to attach faces to so many people. When you're doing YouTube as a job, it's easy to forget that each of those subs and each of those views is a real, breathing, feeling person. And it's hard to envision tens of thousands of people gathering to watch one of my stupid videos. It's amazing, really. And I don't think I'll ever be able to fully visualize it, but I'm happy you're all here regardless. If you don't mind my asking, are you planning on doing any more reviews in the future? I enjoyed the shite out of the Deltarune one and would love to see more of that style from you in the future. I'd love to do more, but I'm thinking of doing something less outright review and more discussion focused, like listing an actual topic in the title and having a central point to the video rather than just a general review. Specialized content seems to do better, and while I can just do what I want because it's fun to do and I want to do it, this is also my job and I gotta do what puts food on the table, so yeah. Again though, I'd be happy to do more, so if the opportunity arises, we'll see. How has doing YouTube videos make you feel? What's your favorite part of the whole experience, and what's your least favorite? My favorite part of the whole YouTube thing is just finishing a video and seeing how well it all comes together. The reactions of you all are what makes the video validating to make, and it feels nice to have at least some creative outlet in my life, given my absolute lack of skill in pretty much every other artistic medium. My least favorite part is twofold. One, having a constant underlining feeling that if I don't stick to a popular trend, then I don't matter. And two, the fact that it seems like every other day, there's some controversy about some bigger YouTubers that makes life harder for the rest of us. It's one of the cons of being in such a small industry. When the big names feel the pain, so does everyone else. What are your thoughts of the genocide run in Undertale? I'm sure you already played/seen it, but what's your reaction? I never did the genocide run myself because I'm too much of a goody two-shoes, and actually doing the run to its fullest is a bit of an aggravating time sink. But I've seen the entire run on playthroughs and such. I'm equally happy and upset that it exists. Happy because it's honestly one of the most jarring shifts in tone I've seen in a game that is entirely dependent on your actions as the player, which throws the entire world you're in a whole new light, as well as opens up some further mystique behind the game's plot. But I'm upset with it because it opened up the floodgates for the metric ass ton of cringy, edgy, alternate universes and theories that seem to really miss the point of Undertale entirely, and are part of the reason why many onlookers looking in are turned off by the game purely because of the overhype surrounding it. Which would you say is the hardest part of having a YouTube channel? Just working on a consistent schedule. Most people, myself included, go into doing YouTube thinking it's all fun and games, forgetting very quickly that this is a career. It's something you rely on, you have to build up over a lot of years, and it's something you have to work really hard at to maintain. The necessary skills to running a channel come with time, but it's a clusterfuck starting out. Any plans to play Nintendo games in the future? As soon as I'm 100% sure that Nintendo won't be an old man about it, then yes. I know they recently lifted the restrictions on content creation around their games, which I am sure had nothing to do with Super Smash Ultimate, but I still want to give it some time and be completely sure. How do you feel about the over-Englishman stealing Aloe 9 from the future, Al 99? I mean, it's not the original model, so I guess he can do with it what he wants, so long as he doesn't screw up the space-time continuum any more than he already has. I swear to God, if I wind up in their universe one more time, I'm going to send them a strongly worded letter. A very strongly worded letter. What about your case But seriously, any plan to suffer a little more for us in the good old mystery of how does this game even work? Would not blame you if not, any of your content is delightful to me regardless. Probably not because of how the game actually makes me scared for my computer's health, but if I feel particularly masochistic someday, perhaps. What has been your favorite series to create thus far, and what are some of your favorite moments? I honestly love my Blue Magoo series in Dark Souls 3, and I want to do more of it sometime. The problem is, due to the nature of those videos, they take a lot longer to make than my traditional content, so I don't know if I can fit them into my more frequent uploads. As for favorite moments, I'd say the original ending to the vanilla XCOM 2 playthrough, the radio segment in the Tactical Legacy pack, and quite a few moments from the Blue Magoo series are all decent candidates. What is your favorite game besides XCOM 2? Honestly, I've got so many different favorite games for different reasons. Half-Life 2 is one of them because it was my first real PC game and my introduction to more story-driven experiences, and it's just a great game all around. Undertale because I just loved its world, characters, and humor, which also applies to Deltarune, and Team Fortress 2 for its gameplay and the humongous community I was a part of for a long time. Well, at least TF2 up to around the Love and War era of the game. After 2015 or so is when I started falling out of love with the game, and its most recent iteration I just can't get into like I did before. When they removed quick play and community servers stopped being very populated, I stopped playing it a lot. God damn, I missed that game. How did you think of Allo 9 and the name Sethorven? I thought of the name Allo 9 when I was thinking of robotic sounding versions of common names for him, and Allo 9 just came from Alex. Sethorven is just a random assortment of syllables that I came up with out of spontaneity. Best tips for getting good. Get good. I mean, that's the best kind of advice you can give someone, right? Not actually being helpful in any capacity and basically telling people to stop being bad? I mean, that's how we do things on the internet, right? On a scale of 1 being kind of and 10 being ridiculously, how gay are you? H. How good are you at first-person shooters? It depends, really. Games like TF2 I can be pretty alright in, but shooters where you die a lot faster like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike and such, I'm not very good at. Mainly because I just don't find the whole if you see them first you've won, and if they see you first you've lost kind of gameplay very fun. I like being able to tank a shot or two and actually be able to fight back, rather than just getting killed from behind before I can even react. That's the reason I never really got into Battle Royale games like Fortnite and PUBG, because I don't find it very fun to either slowly make my way across a big empty map to then get immediately sniped by someone I couldn't see about 50 feet behind me, or try to get involved in an actual fun-looking shootout with a bunch of other people and then get sniped by someone I couldn't see about 50 feet behind me. And for the last question, what was your goal in starting to make videos? Entertainment, money, simple socialization? I guess a bit of all three? Now, when I say money, I don't mean, oh, I'm gonna make so much money doing this, I'm gonna get rich. No, if you're honestly getting into YouTube to get rich, go do something else, because that's very likely not gonna happen, at least not for a long while. Yes, there are very rich YouTubers, but it takes them a lot of time and a lot of luck to get to that point. And more than likely, you're not going to get up to that level. Now, that doesn't mean YouTubers don't make a comfortable living. I mean, I'm able to completely support myself thanks to you all, but this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. When I say money, I mean I want to be able to do this as a living and live comfortably enough that I'm happy with the work I do and with the life I have. And like I said, I grew up with this kind of content as a kid, so I always wanted to try my hand at it because it always seemed like a lot of fun, and it's definitely helped my social life for sure. I've been talking to more people for the last couple of years than I have for quite a while. So yeah, this has been a good point in my life, I'd say, and I hope it only gets better. So I guess that's all I got. I had a lot of questions. There were a lot of questions I really wanted to answer. This video was a long one, I know, I'm sorry, but hopefully you all enjoyed. Before I go, guys, I want to go ahead and say thank you again for helping this channel get to this point. If it wasn't for any of you, for all of you, we wouldn't be here. And I owe pretty much my entire livelihood to you guys. So thank you very much. I'm going to keep working at what I do and hopefully get better and hopefully get more and more content for you all to watch in the meantime. So with that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. The next video is going to be Shadow of War, and I'm going to try, no guarantees, but I am going to try to get 2 videos up this week. First one will be Shadow of War. I don't know what the second one will be, but we will see. But thank you again for watching, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. As always, y'all have a lovely evening, and I will see you next time.